Hello, Tungsten Miner here. I thought today I would do a very quick Let's Play video on my new power plant. Here I am, right in the middle of it. This is the whole thing. Well, maybe not quite the whole thing. So, if you've been following this Let's Play series, you recognize this room as being my power plant, which is now conspicuously empty of all things having to do with producing power. So let me show you what I've got instead. So here we are. This is the same power cell that I had before, 50 million RF in capacity. I've actually got a whole bunch of machines running behind me, and as you can see, the power is not moving one jot. So whatever this thing leads to is obviously producing quite a lot of power. Let's go up on the roof and take a peek. So I went to the trouble, if you remember, last time I was complaining about having constant power drain in the form of my new storage system and having a bunch of machines that pull power off and having to write a computer program to try and manage keeping the reactor on and off. Well, eventually I decided to check out what advanced rocketry has to offer in the way of power generation, and here it is. This is a microwave receiver, and you can see it is generating 600 RF per tick. So 1200 RF per second. That's a lot of power, way more power than anything I have in my base. That's what, more than 10 of the combustion engine. I mean, it's a lot. So anyway, this thing is amazing. However, this little multi-block structure by itself does pretty much nothing. It generates no power at all. This beam emanating from space is where the power is really coming from. And up there somewhere is a satellite that I created, which is actually harnessing the sun's power and beaming it down to my base. So this guy here is really just a bunch of solar cells. And we can take a quick look at that. That's these solar panels. So you're going to need a lot of gold because you're going to build at least 12, if not more, of these solar panels. And then when we get to the satellite, you'll see there's a whole lot of satellite power there too. And then some glowstone, and again, you need lots of glowstone for the other, and lots of redstone. So stock up on all of this stuff, which of course none of it is easy to get your hands on. So this is definitely not the kind of device that you're going to wind up building early on in the game. This is going to be something that you upgrade to. In my case, the nuclear power plant lasted for quite a while, and it was only after I had really been settled in that I upgraded to this. These are the two other panels that are, or the other items that are going to be interesting to us, but I'm going to wait just a second to talk about those. First, let's go and talk about the satellite. These are all just input hatches, and in this particular input hatch, I've got a satellite ID chip, which is connected to the satellite that is actually up in orbit right now, beaming down the power. And then this center block, although you can't see it, is the one that's the microwave receiver. Now, you'll also notice this is shimmering and waving in a pretty pronounced way. I don't have anything that I can spare on me, but anything you put up here, animal, creature, item, will instantly catch fire and start to burn. So definitely don't want to be in the middle of all that. Okay, so I'm going to head back down to my factory building, and we'll take a peek at building this satellite. Okay, here we are on the factory floor. In front of me is my satellite builder. So what you need in order to set up a satellite that's going to generate your power. First of all, the satellite itself, and that's just this guy. So aluminum sheets, titanium rods, control circuit board. So obviously some somewhat rare materials, not exactly easy to come by. That's going to get you the item that you place in this slot over here. You're going to need to build yourself a satellite chip, and in fact, good idea to have a backup. That's really easy, just a basic circuit. And then you craft that into a satellite chip directly. Over here, this is the primary function slot. And the primary function for this satellite is going to be transmitting power. So we need to build ourselves a microwave transmitter and drop it right in this slot. This guy is not terribly expensive, although your tracking circuit does require an eye vendor, which is not super easy to come by, but not too bad. So this component's pretty easy to make. Where things get expensive is what you put in these slots over here. So I made for myself large solar panels, and I made 6 of them, so one for each of these slots. And that gave me the maximum possible power generation for this one satellite. Well, one of these large solar panels is 6 of these basic solar panels, so I made 36 of these basic solar panels. And here's where things get expensive. I had to make this recipe 36 times in order to make all of the large solar panels that I wanted to put on this satellite. You can run the numbers yourself. They get pretty big. It's about 3 stacks of each of these materials in order to be able to build all the basic solar panels that you need. Once you've done that, though, you just toss them in these slots, hit build, and you get yourself a satellite. I then had 2 satellite chips, so I hit write to secondary chip, and it makes a copy of my satellite chip. Now we've got a satellite, and we need to put it in orbit. So over to the launch pad. Here we are at the launch pad. I have my rocket in its asteroid mining configuration, but part of that, at least in my case, is this satellite bay. And fortunately, you can use a rocket in whatever configuration, even a mining one, so long as it has a satellite bay, it will deliver the satellite when you stick it up there. The other thing you need to have is a guidance computer, or your rocket's not going anywhere, which has a planet ID chip of the planet you wish to put your satellite in orbit around. So in this case, Earth. So I can click on this, select a destination, Earth, select, and now when I launch this thing, it's going to put the satellite up in orbit for me. The only other thing, of course, you have to do is open up your satellite bay and drop your satellite right in here. And then you go to your monitoring station, hit launch, off it goes. It'll go up, take a little while, and when it's finally done, the rocket will come back down, and you will see that beam of power coming right down to your base and powering basically 3 times as much RF per tick as I was generating with that nuclear power plant. And it's free. Of course, it was expensive to make, but now it just comes down. No fuel, nothing to recharge, nothing to monitor, just free power forever. And that's now what I've got powering my base, is this microwave receiver on the roof. Now, you might ask yourself, why do you have so many input bays? It turns out that you can have just solar panels all the way around with only one input bay for the one satellite. But if you put more of them in, 1, they're cheaper to make than solar panels, so why wouldn't you? And 2, I can put 1 chip, I think, in every slot in all of these input hatches. And if I understand the documentation correctly, that means I can have a lot of satellites beaming down power. So 600 RF per tick is what I get with 1 fully loaded satellite. If I put together all of the rest of these things, well, let's see. I've got 12 inputs. I've got 4 slots per, and I get 600 for each of those. So I could generate almost 30,000 RF per tick from satellites in orbit beaming power down. That's more power than I think I would need for just about anything ever. One last thing to point out. See how I went yellow there? If I turn around a bit, look at a different place, there it goes, back again. The other thing I've noticed is doors, and this seems really weird to me. I don't know why, but if you look at a door in the right angle, or the wrong angle, I guess, as I move around, see, it went transparent, and then back again, and then out, and then back again. So there's something strange, which I suspect is connected to my new microwave receiver, because it started doing this the moment I powered that thing on. I haven't investigate it, turn it off, see if it still happens, all that kind of thing. So possibly a bug report in the offing once I've had some time to look into it a little bit more. And of course now I've got this humongous empty room in my base because all the power generation is just on the roof in that one little panel. I'll have to figure out what to do with this next. That's it for now. Talk to you later.